Welcome, DCS Flyers, to this mission brief of DocStrike. First, some mission design background. This is not a particularly difficult mission, but I hope it will be fun. The title notwithstanding, it was inspired by the launch of the AJS-37 Viggen and built around an anti-ship strike. Indeed, the working title had been Convoy Containment. I have tried to build in a number of aircraft choices for the various tasks within the overall mission. While aircraft types can be mixed and matched, flying more than two for any given task would overwhelm the mission. In many cases, just one aircraft can handle the task, although it might mean a bit more work for that particular pilot. The following is a rundown of the mission tasks and of the aircraft available for each. More detailed briefs of each task will follow this summary. The first group of flights is what I consider to be essential to the mission as designed. Some optional flights will follow. The mission namesake, DocStrike, can be flown by the Ka-50 Black Shark, the SA-342M Gazelle, or a mixed flight of both. The anti-ship strike will be handled by the AJS-37 Viggen. Close air support over the theater of operations can be covered by the A-10C, Su-25T, or a combination of those aircraft. An asset that had been infiltrated into the area to assess the situation must be extracted. This task will be handled by the UH-1H Huey, the Mi-8 MTV-2 HIP, or a combination of these. The following flights and tasks are available, but primary mission goals can be achieved if these flights are absent. Combat air patrol over the theater of operations can be flown by the F-15C Eagle, the Mirage 2000C, or one of each. SEAD can be flown by one or two Su-25T Frogfoots. A second pair of AJS-37 Viggens loaded with the RB-75 Maverick missiles has been added. If the convoy escorts have been destroyed, these aircraft can assist in sinking any remaining container ships, or they can take out ground targets in the theater of operations. Finally, I encourage anyone or everyone to modify this mission to suit your own needs or those of the group you fly with. Now, on to the mission brief. The area around Gelendzhik has been demilitarized and very peaceful for some time. Even the airbase had been turned over to civilian use, and all military hardware moved out of the area. Nevertheless, given past history, this zone has been kept under constant observation. Recently, satellite surveillance has picked up an unusual amount of cargo activity at the southeastern docks in the bay surrounded by the city of Gelendzhik. In addition, we have picked up some suspicious SIGINT. All of this led us to insert an asset, codenamed Voyeur, to inspect offloaded cargo containers and report on their contents. Our concerns have been validated. The containers hold munitions, military hardware spare parts, and other essentials for what can only be a planned action by the enemy. In addition to the offloaded cargo on the dock, another convoy of container ships is on the way. We strongly suspect this new activity will lead to a remilitarization of the area and, quite possibly, a reinstatement of Gelendzhik as a military air base. None of that can be allowed to happen. While area defenses are still very light, the time to strike is now. An immediate strike has been authorized to take out the convoy and destroy the cargo containers already on the docks. While these actions are taking place, we will also extract our asset. The anti-ship strike and close air support flights will originate out of Maykop-Kunskaya. The dock strike and asset extraction flights will originate out of FARP's London and Rome, located near the coastal town of Zubga. Combat air patrol flights will originate out of Sochi Adler. We have a Reaper overhead, call sign Pontiac, searching the area for any air defenses that might have been brought in. And last, with regard to the mission overview, we have an AWACS in the air to alert all flights of any enemy air activity. Now we'll look at the individual tasks in more detail. The dock strike will consist of one or two Ka-50 Black Sharks, one or two SA-342M Gazelles, or a mixed flight of each. They will depart FARP Rome and fly very low west-northwest up the coastline before turning inland at waypoint 2. From there, the strike package will follow streams and roads in a valley before reaching the Bay Area target zone. We don't know if any air defenses have been set up, but staying low should help keep you out of trouble. The strike aircraft will enter the bay from the east and set up for the attack near the center of the bay. At this point, you will be at your most vulnerable, so press the attack quickly. We are fairly certain that the airfield remains an unprotected civilian facility, but some air defenses might have been placed nearby. The cargo containers are located on a dock at the southeast corner of the bay. We counted 10 containers in all and want at least 8 destroyed. After the attack, surprise is no longer a concern, so immediately head out over water and fly back to FARP Rome. The anti-ship strike package will consist of 2 AJS-37 Viggens. Each will be armed with 2 RB-15 standoff anti-ship missiles. They'll depart Maykopkanskaya and fly west-southwest to the target area. Waypoints 1 and 2 provide visual navigation fixes. The first is a river bend on the runway heading, which you will pass shortly after takeoff. The second is a river mouth just as you go feet wet into the target area. Waypoint 4 marks the release point of the RB-15 missiles. This waypoint is just inside the 70-kilometer range of the RB-15 missile relative to our best estimate of the convoy position at time of launch. Target waypoint BX6 marks the point at which the missiles will start their drop to cruise altitude. Waypoint BX7 marks a final turn point, but this should be a straight-in approach in any case. BX8, the target waypoint, is our best estimate of the convoy position at time of missile launch. If desired, you can refine waypoint BX8 by making a radar fix on the convoy, although this should not be necessary. Finally, waypoint BX9 marks the self-destruct point should the missiles miss and overfly the target zone. At least 3 of 4 container ships must be sunk. Sinking one or both escort ships would be a bonus. It might be necessary to RTB, reload, and re-attack. In this case, a fix of target point BX8 will be required after you reacquire the remaining ships on radar. The asset extraction flight will consist of 1 or 2 UH-1H Hueys, 1 or 2 Mi-8 MTV-2 HIPs, or a combination flight departing FARP London and, initially, following the same ingress route as the dock strike package. You will have to rely on VFR and kneeboard maps for navigation. Our asset, Voyeur, is in hiding about 4 miles east of the dock area near your waypoint 13. Once he has you in sight, he'll pop green flares and then green smoke. Land nearby and establish credentials. You will be notified when dust-off is cleared. As mentioned, we suspect Voyeur's presence has been detected. There might be enemy troops in the area looking for him. You are cleared hot to take out any of these troops if they do appear. Get airborne if you have to take out any troops, then land again to pick up the asset. Once on board, head out over water and RTB to FARP London. After landing, use the F10 menu to drop off Voyeur. He should appear at the center of the FARP. Close air support of the dock strike and asset extraction missions will be handled by 1 or 2 A-10C Warthogs, 1 or 2 Su-25T Frogfoots, or a combination flight out of Maykopkanskaya. You will fly west-southwest before heading up the coast toward the theater of operations. If flying an A-10C and as you approach or orbit the feet-wet waypoint, contact Pontiac on 133 MHz to see if any enemy air defenses have been detected. If so, you are cleared hot to take them out. If flying an Su-25T, target waypoints have been created close to suspected AAA sites. You can use the F10 menu to have JTAC place Willie Pete markers near any detected targets. If no targets are or remain available, orbit the Gelendzhik Bay and provide further cover for the dock strike and asset extraction packages. Once they have left the area and are over water en route to their originating FARPs, you are cleared to RTB. Combat Air Patrol will be handled by a flight of 2 F-15C Eagles or 2 Mirage 2000Cs. They will depart Sochi Adler and fly northwest up the coast into the theater of operations. AWACS, call sign Overlord, is available on 126 MHz to assist. A perimeter of SA-13s and SA-15s protects the enemy air bases at Krasnodar and Krimsk, and an SA-10 is located at Krasnodar Center. This perimeter should not be a threat as long as friendly strike assets fly low, stay out of range, and use the mountains as cover. All aircraft based out of Maykop have waypoints specifically placed to take them out over water prior to ingress into the target area. CAP flights should ensure that they are at least 20,000 feet AGL if it is necessary to fly north of the SAM perimeter. SEAD is also an option should friendly forces wish to roll back the defenses, either for a more direct flight path or to mitigate threats to an aggressive CAP station. A reference waypoint over Bullseye has been added after the RTB waypoint for the following aircraft: F-15C, Su-25T CAS, and Su-25T SEAD. Overall mission success will be defined as having destroyed at least 8 of 10 cargo containers on the dock, sunk at least 3 of 4 cargo container ships, and Voyair safely deposited back at FARP London. Mission resources include AWACS, call sign Overlord, on 126 MHz, and JTAC, call sign Pontiac, on 133 MHz. Finally, a note of thanks goes out to Homefries, whose input made this a better mission, and to the Blackfield Squadron and 75th Virtual Fighter Squadron for their testing time and suggestions.